Hi, folks. Thanks for joining me today to explore the violent grace of Gervonta Tank Davis. I didn't really know a lot about my boxers until I started checking them out, checking their life stories out. I'm glad I did. My heart sank at the tragedies this young man faced early in life. Then my heart raced. I felt inspiration that he pulled out of it and made something great out of his life. So at 5'5", he is a bunch of dynamite in a small stack. He grew up in troubled neighborhoods of West Baltimore. He overcame an unstable childhood, become one of the most well-known figures in boxing today. He has extraordinary boxing talent, and he has lined up with significant personal turmoil. So I hope you're as inspired by his story. He went from troubles to greatness, which I think we can all get a lesson from. So without further ado, let's go on to our examination of his life. Please subscribe and like so we can keep these videos on YouTube.
Let's jump straight into this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the absolutely wild, intensely contrasted life and career of Gervonta Tank Davis. It's a story that's as triumphant as it is complicated, you know? We're going to break down the facts, the numbers, and the timeline of a guy who's literally conquered the boxing world, but somehow keeps finding himself fighting these really fierce battles outside the ring. The phrase turbulent ascent kind of hits the nail on the head here, doesn't it? It perfectly captures his journey from total hardship to undisputed glory. And trust me, the word turbulent is definitely not being used lightly. We're going to explore how a life that started with the odds so heavily stacked against him evolved into this massive, multi-million-dollar athletic empire, and why that very same empire is currently resting on some seriously shaky ground. But before we get into all the complications, to really understand his impact, we've got to start with his absolute dominance inside the ropes. I mean, in the punishing world of pro boxing, an undefeated record is basically the holy grail, right? Davis boasts 30 wins, 0 losses, and just 1 recent draw. So we aren't just talking about a lucky winning streak here. This is a sustained era of dominance against literally the best fighters on the planet. The real secret sauce here, his explosive power. Out of those 30 victories, a staggering 28 of his opponents didn't even make it to the final bell. Think about that for a second. For a southpaw fighter, that knockout ratio is genuinely terrifying. It's the specific, undeniable power that's transformed him from a highly skilled boxer into a must-watch absolute mega attraction on pay-per-view. So here's our roadmap for the explainer today. We're going to cover 1, a turbulent childhood, 2, the boxing lifeline, 3, rise to pro superstardom, 4, defining championship fights, and finally, 5, battles outside the ring. Number 1, a turbulent childhood. Let's go back to 1994, right in West Baltimore. Born in the Sandtown Winchester community, which is a notoriously tough neighborhood, his early years were defined by severe family instability. Both of his parents struggled with drug addiction, which led to frequent incarcerations. So by the time he was just 5 years old, Child Protective Services had to step in, placing Davis and his brothers into foster care and group homes. He eventually went to Digital Harbor High School, but dropped out to focus entirely on boxing. Though actually, scratch that, it's important to mention, he did later go back and earn his GED. But man, talk about a profoundly tough foundation. Number 2, the boxing lifeline. In 2001, when he was just 7 years old, a friend's dad brought him to the Upton Boxing Center, and he was introduced to Calvin Ford. Now, if you're a fan of HBO's The Wire, you might actually recognize this connection, because Ford famously inspired the character Dennis Cuddy Wise. But for Gervonta Davis, Ford was way more than just a TV inspiration. He became Davis's lifelong trainer, his mentor, and honestly, a crucial father figure when he needed one the most. The gym literally became his sanctuary. And you can see that dedication in his amateur record. He racked up an elite 206 wins against only 15 losses. I mean, just stop and think about the sheer volume of fights you need to reach that number. That represents years of grueling gym work, constantly traveling to tournaments, and relentlessly honing his craft as a teenager, all while trying to avoid the obvious pitfalls of his neighborhood. Tracking his amateur progression, we see him just completely dominating the national youth circuits. Step 1, he secured not 1, but 3 consecutive National Silver Gloves championships from 2006 to 2008. Step 2, he capped off his amateur run by winning the super prestigious National Golden Gloves Championship in 2012. He didn't just participate in the amateur system, guys. He completely conquered it. Number 3. Rise to pro superstardom. Going pro in 2013, his momentum only accelerated. His debut set this explosive tone for his entire career when he knocked out Desi Williams in just 89 seconds. Obviously, that kind of entrance gets you noticed, and it definitely caught the attention of boxing royalty, Floyd Mayweather Jr. Floyd signed Davis to Mayweather Promotions, took him under his wing, and with that elite mentorship, Davis just skyrocketed. By 2017, at just 22 years old, he knocked out Jose Pedraza to capture the IBF super featherweight title, officially making him the youngest world champion in boxing at the time. Now, if you follow the sport, you know that jumping weight classes and keeping your knockout power is incredibly rare. It's like finding a unicorn. But he didn't just stay in one lane. As a 3-division world champion, he proved that his southpaw power translated across the board. He captured WBA world titles in the super featherweight, lightweight, and super lightweight divisions. This is where he truly cemented himself, not just as a champ, but as a total superstar. Number 4. Defining championship fights. Let's look at the really defining moments inside the ring. In 2020, against Leo Santa Cruz, Davis delivered this vicious left uppercut that instantly went viral and earned Knockout of the Year honors, securing the WBA junior lightweight title. Fast forward to 2023, he faced his bitter rival Ryan Garcia, ending that massive fight with a devastating 7th-round body shot. And most recently, in March 2025, he faced Lamont Roach Jr. While he did keep his undefeated record intact, his long winning streak was finally broken, resulting in a highly controversial majority draw. To truly grasp the magnitude of his stardom, just look at the numbers from that 2023 Ryan Garcia fight. It was an absolute mega event. We're talking over 1.2 million pay-per-view buys. On top of that, it achieved the 5th highest grossing US gate in boxing history. Davis proved without a doubt that he's the face of modern boxing, drawing millions of eyes and generating just massive revenue. So what does this all mean? Can his dominance inside the ring actually survive his actions outside of it? This is where we have to take a stark pivot in our explainer. We just can't look at his athletic achievements without also looking at these severe legal controversies documented in the source material. We are looking at a massive dichotomy here. It's almost like 2 different lives. On one side, you have this unparalleled discipline in the sport as an undefeated 3-division world champion. But on the other side, severe chaos in the real world. Multiple arrests, a hit and run, probation violations. It's a really stunning contrast between having total control inside the ropes and an apparent total loss of control outside of them. Number 5, battles outside the ring. Tracing this timeline, we see a persistent pattern of serious allegations and convictions unfolding right alongside his championship run. Let's lay out the facts neutrally. In November 2020, he was involved in a Baltimore hit and run that injured 4 people, including a pregnant woman. Then, in December 2022, he was arrested over domestic battery allegations. This followed a previous 2020 incident at a charity basketball game. By 2023, after a judge rejected a plea deal for the hit and run, Davis actually served a brief jail sentence for violating the terms of his home confinement. And most recently, in January 2026, he was arrested down in Miami on charges of assault and attempted kidnapping. And the reality of this 2026 legal turmoil is that it's directly impacting his career now. After posting bond for that Miami arrest, a Baltimore judge subsequently issued a warrant for his arrest for allegedly violating his probation tied to the 2020 hit and run. Because of these escalating legal hurdles, Davis was literally stripped of his WBA lightweight title due to inactivity. His actions outside the ring have now actively started to dismantle what he built inside it. So we're left to wonder, will the incredible fighter who survived Baltimore's hardest streets be able to survive the consequences of his own behavior? Gervonta Davis is undeniably one of the most gifted, explosive athletes of his generation, for sure. But what's his ultimate legacy going to be? Will he be remembered as the boxing prodigy who defied all odds, or as a generational talent who just couldn't stay out of his own way? That is the real battle facing Tank Davis today. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. I really hope it gave you a clearer picture of the complex reality behind the headlines.